You remember back in like 2014 when people were saying Marvel was really good at the movie department, but DC was owning the TV? Then Daredevil came out, and this scene made everyone go, oh god, never mind. Then Iron Fist and then the Defenders came out, and everyone was just like, okay, yeah, DC is still winning. That's Arrow in a nutshell. It's not so much that it wins as it doesn't really fail. It's easily the most self-serious of the so-called Arrowverse shows. They go for the more brooding Batman-like depiction of the Green Arrow, which is kind of weird given most of the depictions of the character is a little bit closer to your goofy liberal uncle than the Dark Knight.
We sent the lantern for you because you never gave us an answer.
Come on, I don't belong up here, fighting monsters and aliens and supervillains. I just helped the little guy. And a big club like this, you tend to forget all about him. So gee whiz, I'm flattered to be asked and all, but no thanks.
Especially for me, considering my uncle's given name is Forest Green. Yeah, the color. I'm not making that up. But even in most adaptations, like his depiction in that old Justice League cartoon, you know, the one that made you super jealous of the Atom?
I need both hands, Professor Palmer.
Lucky motherfucker. Or Young Justice. He's usually depicted as the most light-hearted amongst a group of stiffs. I suppose there's nothing wrong with this depiction of the character. I just feel like it mostly comes from the universe not really having a Batman. So they took a similar-ish character and applied the things that people like most about Batman to him. This mostly works. I just find Arrow to be the least interesting of the Arrowverse TV shows. A little ironic, right? As there's only so many places you can go with it. This is honestly why I quit watching initially. The character development went back and forth all the time. Oliver and Felicity went from in a relationship to out of a relationship to in a relationship, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, just commit.
We've already exhausted every topic that one would normally talk about on a first date, and a second date, and a third date, and every date, actually, and I've already seen you shirtless. Multiple times. Shirtless.
Oh my god! Just screw already! Seriously?
But yeah, I quit after the Damien Dark season, which was that 4 or 5, I honestly don't remember. So, what did I miss? Well, the subsequent season can be summed up with...
Can you close off your feelings so you don't get crippled by the moral ambiguity of your violent action?
Yeah, pretty much. The bad guy this season is a serial killer out to prove to Oliver that he's as bad a guy as he thinks he is. This is happening while he's balancing being the mayor. That was always something in the original comics, if you didn't know. Green Arrow in most depictions is sort of depicted as a dyed-in-the-wool kind of liberal guy. He's one of those comic book characters that gets kind of overtly political, kind of like with, you know, Mr. Rogers over here. And going back to what I said earlier, this is an off-again moment with this whole thing. So, well, Felicity is dating this cop that dies due to dramatic reasons. I'm not explaining it, other than to say the guy really didn't have that much personality, so I wasn't really that bummed when he died. Oliver goes to date this news reporter, because of course he does, he's a superhero. Superman, The Flash, a lot of the recent iterations of Spider-Man. They all seem to date reporters. In fairness, I guess, who else do you really meet in this line of work? It's either a co-worker like Green Lantern, the press as I already mentioned, or if you're like Batman and you're a total drama queen, you date a villain. Alright, Selina isn't that bad in most iterations. Well, that eventually doesn't work out for plot reasons. I'm trying not to spoil these things as much as just sort of give my general thoughts about them. Not going into specifics. I can do that if anyone's interested, though. This season ends with kind of an explosive finale. Literally, they blow up that island from the flashbacks. And in the fallout, Oliver is left to take care of his son from, I think, season 4? This show runs together more than most of them. And most of the drama from the subsequent season springs from that. The work-life superhero balance. You know, the daily grind. Anyway, in this season, the main bad guy appears to be this one hacker dude at first. But it turns out to be this bad guy named Diaz. With that, I have to point out, Felicity is always making unintentional innuendos.
Echo, I bet you're an awesome fluffer.
No.
Danny Trejo shows up as a disapproving father.
That's why you were nervous, because you know I never liked him.
What?
And nobody knows shit about Diaz.
It's a drinking game. Get a question wrong, do a shot. Oh, and the questions, they're all about Rosa.
But none of us know anything about Rosa.
Everyone's about to get real hammered.
This is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That is a completely pointless observation. So, that aside, I just gotta say, I don't really get what Diaz's deal is. In the previous seasons, I could always tell the bad guy's main plan. Even if it was stupid, I think this was something about wanting to rule the city? Really aiming high there, dude. This kind of ends up harming the whole season, as I don't really have a feel for the stakes and everything. About the only thing I recall is that there was an FBI investigation into Oliver, and he gives himself up to take the baddie down. I think the guy gets away with it, gets away too, but not before killing Detective Lance, who I believe, due to dramatic reasons, was the acting mayor, which leads us to this scene.
This is probably really strange for you, right?
For context, that's a Laurel from Earth 2 who's been kind of going through a redemption arc. I know for a fact that is not the weirdest thing that Sarah has seen. Lady, you've been on dates weirder than this. The last season I want to talk about starts with Oliver in prison, and I gotta be honest, I don't really recall much else about this season. Like, I couldn't tell you who the main bad guy of this entire season was. It started out as the guy who I mentioned got away, Diaz, from the previous season, but that sort of comes to a head when Oliver finally gets out of prison, and I don't, with the help from this black dude who I know is supposed to be from a previous season, but I honestly don't remember him. Gets a mini redemption arc, I guess. But I honestly can't tell you, like, how it ended. And I didn't watch this that long ago, so this season just kind of doesn't leave much of an impression on me. I don't know. One unique thing I recall was that the flashbacks in this season are actually flash forwards to watching Oliver's kids and, you know, the subsequent generation actually save the city from robots or something. Well, anyway, I think the point was something about how the best way to save people is to inspire a legacy that gets them to save themselves. I mean, overall, I like this show, but it's 10 gallons in a 20-gallon tank, if you catch my drift. Too often does a show feel like you watch a scene, then you watch another scene about the scene that just happened, and then you see people talking about that scene that just happened where they were talking about the previous scene. That combined with very high levels of, will you two just fuck already? Just make me a little bored. Again, I don't dislike this show. It's okay. And like I said, all the Arrowverse shows are just sort of okay. But this is the one that is like the hardest to get through for me. The best advice I can give you is watch it on a laptop or something and download one of those like video speed add-ons so the boring shit goes by quicker.
Da, 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 da.